just walked into a store and got the biggest ick? Like, men, when you want to speak to a female, it is a kind gesture. Maybe you can open the door. How about you say good morning? How about you say good afternoon? How about you say hi, how are you? Like something gentle. If a man ever comes up to me and curses, that's an instant ick for me. Like, you do not have to show dominance that way. Like, a manly man is actually gentle when it comes to a female. Like, open the door, say hi, like, be a man, because I'm over it. Like, men, 2025, let's be men. Let's be okay with being gentle when it comes to a female, because how you introduce yourself to a girl, if you're cursing or you're like kind of like trying to be tough, like, that's how you're going to be in the relationship, and it's weak, and it's showing mommy issues, it's showing go to church, it's showing learn how to be a man. Have a good day.
You sure about that? You sure about that?
All right, Queen, I am sorry that you actually had that bad experience going into the store, but I've got to say something. When you're saying this is how men act, men should act a certain way, I kind of agree with you halfway. Let me explain why I say this halfway. The reason is, it's obvious that you're talking from experience, as in you're tired of Chad and Tyrone and the players talking to you a certain way, and you want, quote unquote, a real man now that your mileage is a little bit higher. I'm not trying to turn this around to try to slam you with it. I'm just saying a reality. In fact, let me come at this from a different angle, Colleen. Check it out. The way that you say, oh, this is the way a real man has to act and this is what women are looking for. Really? So do all the ex-comics, all the guys getting out of prison, they come out of there super sophisticated, talking super sweet, super nice, super soft with women? Or do they come out, I don't know, being very rough, cursing and all that, and for some unknown reason of magical proportions, they are slaying the punani? I mean, you women are practically flinging it at them as they come out the barbed wire gate. So I don't know, maybe there's something to the attitude, to the acting like a tough guy, to talking the way they talk to you. Because maybe, just maybe, these men that you're talking about have actually had success that way. It is possible that you are a rare case and they would not have success with you. Or should I say, more to the point, they're not going to have success with you now. But maybe at one point in the past when you were younger, you had less mileage, and you had a higher value, these guys that came out cursing and rugged and all that were exciting, and you thought you could fix them, because average guys who act the way that you're saying they should act were boring, and they never got your attention. You know, just a theory. Before we move on, I want to say thank you, fam, to all of my subscribers for supporting this channel. I truly appreciate all of you who leave comments, who like my videos, and share them on other social media platforms. I truly gotta say thanks, fam. If it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be here. And for those of you who haven't subscribed yet, I thank you for tuning in, and I hope you decide to hit that subscribe button. Moving on!
Here's some crazy research for you. So, a third of men, 33%, a little over a third, of men between the ages of 18 and 29 are not only single, but they're not actively looking for a partner. The same study said that by the year 2030, that 45% of women between the ages of 20 and 45 will be single. So I've got a question for the men, because I see it all the time in my comments. Most of my comments are filled with guys saying we're done. We're not looking. We like our peace. I need some more talk from you guys. Tell me why you're done. Tell me why you don't want to have a partner in life. Tell me why it's more worth it to be single than to have a partner. Even if you weren't to remarry, just to have a partner. I mean, I've talked to a lot of men. I've got my answers, but I want to hear it in the comments. So please, drop it in the comments.
How come? Tell me why! Say it! Say it!
You know, ladies, I gotta be honest, sometimes this gorilla feels that he's actually screaming out good advice into the void. All my male viewers actually listen, and for the most part, they agree. Women act like they didn't hear anything. I'm pretty sure that this queen in this video has been told the reasons already. She just blocked them out, didn't want to hear them. But you know what? I'm going to help her out. Let not be said this girl doesn't help. I'm going to give 4 quick reasons why men now in 2025 are deciding, nope, I'm opting out. All right, the first one, peace of mind. That's like the quickest one. They like their peace of mind. They don't want any drama, anything that's going to disturb that peace. And they figure, hey, you know what? If I'm not in a relationship, I don't have anything to disturb this peace. All right, number 2, economics. Do you know how much money these men are saving by not dating? In fact, this may shock you, but some men out there will say that it's cheaper for them just to pay for it, rather than go through the trials and tribulations of dating. Now, this gorilla does understand that the Pookies and Ray-Rays out there can go on a one date, hit it and quit it. But not every man has got that skill. All right, a third reason is they don't want to be trapped. I'm sorry, but the way that the legal landscape goes, they can be trapped legally. I mean, by different ways. False accusations is one thing, or unintentional pregnancy where he has no control over the outcome, or a misunderstanding that leads to his reputation being ruined. That's reason number 3. And reason number 4, which a lot of men would say should have been reason number 1, is freedom. I mean, do you know what it's like going to work, coming back, kicking your shoes off in your own house, watching your favorite show, or go online and start downloading YouTube videos, or turning on your PlayStation and playing with your boys, or receiving a text from your friends, hey man, it's like Friday night, we're all going to the bar and watch a game. You're coming to what? And you're like, hell, let me take a shower, I'll be there in an hour. Boom. You don't have that freedom when you're locked down with a ball and chain. Consider these things. Moving on.
So I kind of did a thing. And for the love, if my baby daddy is watching this, or one of his Oompa Loompas is watching, ready to report back, this isn't for you. This is for me. For the love, leave me alone. So if you're a friend of mine in real life, or have been following me for any amount of time, you know I have never done dating apps. But I kind of made my first dating profile. Honestly, I don't really know how I feel about it. I'm not really looking. I'm kind of just scouting. But for real, I'm just kind of scouting, looking at the local talent. I just don't know. And here's the funny thing. I'm thinking in my mind, I'm just going to fly under the radar, just kind of look around. But no. I get messages from my followers saying, hey, I saw you on this app. I'm not saying what it is because I don't need y'all. No. All of that being said, yes, I created a dating profile. And if you see me on it, no, you didn't. Thank you.
Show of hands for everybody who knew. Bingo.
Somebody please make this make sense. Let me get this straight, Coeen. You're saying that you don't want any of your ex's Oompa Loompas, your baby daddy, to report back to them with what you're doing, but you have started a dating profile on a dating app, which supposedly is something you didn't want him to find out. But not just do you put out your business about your dating app on the internet for him and the whole world to know, you're actually demanding some privacy while blasting out videos on TikTok? Make it make sense, please. Where's the logic in this, Queen? Oh, there's no logic. It's fifis. So you want your fifis to secure you in your video making, and your fifis are supposed to secure your privacy. So the video is supposed to get out to the world except for those handful of individuals you don't want it to get to. Yeah, because that's how it works, right, Queen? Listen, ladies, I gotta say one thing. When you put your business out there, it's gonna affect everything, to include your dating life. Let me put it this way. Do you actually think that a man that this woman would find attractive is going to want to date a single mom with baby daddy issues who puts out her business on blast, which means that by proxy, she's going to put his business out on blast? Oh, joy. You may want to rethink this dating strategy. In fact, don't rethink it. What's this gorilla saying? Go out there and slay, Queen. This is a foolproof plan. Moving on.
I'm just going to talk about this comment that was left on one of my videos, and there's quite a few men that leave similar comments to this, and this proclamation that, you know, this is why men are staying single. And this is obviously not all men, but there is a reason why men do this, and the reason that men say I'm staying single, which in other terms basically means I'm also willing to have a string of hookups that mean nothing to get my own needs satisfied, is that the reason that they do this is because they are not willing to face themselves. Any man that says, you know, I'm staying single is because they do not want to be in a situation that is causing them to face parts of themselves that have been denied, that have been repressed, where they are not taking accountability for the way that they show up in relationships. And obviously, if they're not in relationship or opening themselves up to the right person, they're not going to have this mirroring. And so by isolating and saying, you know, this is why men are staying single, it's just basically another way of saying, I don't want to face myself. Because unfortunately in Western society and sort of in the modern world, men are becoming apathetic, they're becoming more feminized. And when wounded feminine energy shows up in men, it causes them to lack accountability, to not want to take responsibility, to be flighty, to not commit to things, which is automatically a massive turn off to women that are in a healed feminine energy. And so the sorts of women that they would actually, you know, thrive in relationship with, they're not attracting anyway, because they're not opening themselves up to the possibility that actually they're the ones that are responsible for the type of women that they're actually pulling in the first place. And so it becomes this vicious cycle. But when men say, you know, that they're staying single as an act of, you know, trying to control their circumstances, the reality is underneath that, they're feeling very much out of control. And because they don't have a language for communicating, you know, what's going on underneath, because no man that is in a healed masculine energy is going to make this proclamation and decide that he's going to be single for the rest of his life. Because when you look at the way that obviously masculine energy thrives in life, it is to build, it's to continuously have something to move towards, to build some sort of legacy for self.
and to feel as if they're creating a foundation, you know, and building something. And so when you're saying, you know, I'm cutting off my own growth, which is obviously what comes from being in a relationship anyway, they're automatically showcasing they're not actually in their masculine. Because to get to the end of your life and basically look back and say, you know, I worked a job that was okay, that paid the bills, sat on my own money so I didn't have to pay anything, you know, for women, and, you know, got to the end of my life with a string of hookups. You look back at that as a legacy for a male, and the level of regret that would come with that is not going to feel good. So if a man makes this proclamation, then this is what he really means. And emotional fulfillment in life comes from the depth of intimacy we have with our partners, with the people that are closest to us. And when we cut ourselves off from that and the possibility of exploring that, we don't live an emotionally fulfilling life. We live a life that's filled with surface level distractions, surface level projections that don't actually lean into anything of depth. And so when a man says this, he's likely very much in his feminine, in an apathetic energy where he doesn't want to commit to things. And so within a relationship, he's not going to take accountability. This is obviously very different for a man that chooses to stay single until the right person comes along and works on himself in the meantime. This is an attribute of a healthy masculine male, and a man that's able to concentrate and focus his energy in such a way that's actually going to be really supportive and conducive once the right partner shows up, or once he's ready to take that step with the right partner. And this is the sort of dynamic and mentality that actually breeds and calls in soul connection as well, because the man is anchored into his masculine energy as opposed to dismissing the concept of relationship altogether, which is naturally a byproduct of being very wounded. And soul connection in and of itself can only come in when you are truly connected to yourself, whether you're male or female. So if you don't have a deep understanding of, you know, your own psyche, the way that you operate, of your own triggers, where you're not taking accountability and reconciling that internally, you're not actually in a position to attract in what would be like a deep soul connection anyway. So all of these things are interconnected. They all play into one another. But the difference is that when you are connected to self, you see the mirroring and the divinity in others. When you are not connected to yourself, you see through the eyes of separation, of somebody else wanting to take from you, as opposed to being with an open and generous heart that actually allows you to feel the fullness of what a relationship can actually bring for you.
Staying single is that men don't want to face themselves? Okay, let's follow this logic here, Queen. Seriously, because this is some next level shaming tactic. Since when do men have to get into a relationship with a woman to face themselves? Since when are women the mirrors of men? You are not the mirrors of men. You want men to be the mirrors for yourselves. This is reflection 101. Okay, let me tell you something, Queen. Men, for the most part, the successful ones, have to face themselves. Because if they don't see their own reflections, they don't see their own issues for them to better themselves, they will not attract a woman. They don't need to have a relationship with you to reflect on themselves. They have to do that before they meet you. Don't come with that crap, all right? Women don't have to do this because when you're young and attractive, you're not challenged. All your dating levels are set to easy mode. All you got to do is be pretty and a guy will approach you. Men, they start off in extremely hard mode. Now, if they decide to go after a land whale and lower their standards, it goes down to medium hard. But if they're going to go for an average woman, hard to very hard. And a woman who's a 7 or above, a real 7 and above, that's an extreme level. They have to look at themselves well before you. You're kidding yourself there, Queen. Oh, and you're saying that men are becoming more feminized? Well, you know, you could thank women for that one. Oh, Gorilla, how could you say that? How'd you get to that conclusion? Well, allow me to explain myself here, dear. I know correlation does not equate causation, but damn it, I have a really good correlation. So let me see. More young men today are more feminized than ever. There are more young men today being raised by single moms. So a feminine man is a man who hasn't been raised to understand his masculine energy and get into that role, i.e. doesn't have a father figure to follow in order to be molded the right way. So he's just raised around the single mom who believes that she could be a dad to him. You know that demographic that keeps prisons full of young men ruining their lives because these young men have never learned how to control their emotions? Yeah. I know. Damn it, Gorilla. That's kind of a stretch on the correlation part, but I'm going to go with it. Tell me in the comments if I'm wrong. Now, this Gorilla is going to say that this Queen is right, that masculine energy is to build a foundation for a family, a woman or a family. Okay, Queen, check it out. This Gorilla's telling you. You're right on that. But there's another question that you have not asked, which is equally important, if not more important. Why would a man build a foundation for a woman who doesn't deserve it? They're looking at the ocean of women out there who are more masculine than ever, following the womanist indoctrination, belittling men, not appreciating men, demanding 20 times as much as their grandfathers had to give, offering just a fraction, a 20th of what their grandmothers or great-grandmothers offered. That masculine energy isn't going to build because they don't have much to build for. You're not worthy of it. So he's going to build for himself. And let me tell you something, Queen. You don't know a damn thing about men when you say that, oh, if a man goes his whole life and just based on his career or making money and just spending on himself, he's going to regret because he didn't build a legacy with a family. I'm sorry, Queen. That's bullcrap right there. Why? There are way too many men that far outweigh that say, hey, you know what? I followed the traditional route. I did the husband thing, and I got burned bad in family court. They took my legacy from me, the one I was building. They tore it in half, destroyed my family, set my children against me. I lost half of my assets, half of my money, my home, my vehicles. And then on top of that, I had to keep paying her alimony because apparently I owed her that, and child support. I was ruined for a decade. That is way more common. Get your facts straight. And I beg to differ, Queen. Men who decide, hey, I'm not going to be in a relationship are taking full accountability because they know they don't want to go through that headache. In fact, it's more wounding to women to realize that generations that are younger than this gorilla, that they're in their 20s and 30s right now, these younger men who are not getting into a serious relationship with Western women, just using them as hookups because they're saying, well, that's what you're good for. You're really not good for much else other than that. You, Western women, are shocked when these men start taking their money and their resources and they're going overseas. The ones who can do it, the ones who have actually worked themselves for 10 years. I mean, a young man who gets out of high school and works himself up, and when he's 30 years old, he has a good amount of money, a job that can travel with him. And he gets up and he says, you know what? I'm going to Thailand, I'm going to the Philippines, or I'm going to South America. And I'm going to find a more traditional woman to start my family with there. Yeah, that's what hurts you emotionally, not the other way around.
Now that's a lot of damage.
I'm just saying, if you enjoy this audit, click on the video in the end screen for more content. If you would like to support the channel, please follow the link in the description to donate to our beer fund. Or like, subscribe, and share this video on other social media platforms. If you agree or disagree with anything about this audit, please let us know in the comments. I'm going to leave this audit right here. I'll see all of you in the next episode.